So we're using the roof tube today with our Trident tip. We're trying to get our ribbon really from this knuckle to the center of the panel, and we're going the whole way down, which ends up being about 40 feet. Immediately with a masonry brush just from Lowe's, we're doing long strokes, and that first stroke is at a 45-degree angle, kind of coming from that angle there. Yeah. Got my brush here to 45, and this is a tad heavy, but you get the point. I'm pressing down fairly hard to make sure I got good coverage. Stop a little short so I can pull this mass back up, and then I'm going to spread out this mass of material again with a real quick turnaround. And then I'm just about as fast as I can walk with the next tube and tube. Again, I'm pushing down kind of hard. I got a mass of material in front, going up into that rib to make sure we get as good a rib coverage as possible. I stopped my puddle a little short. Okay, I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna push up the extra. This is nice because it kind of gets some of the back side of the screws hit pretty evenly. And if I feel like I want to do one more really light touch, I'll just run it pretty quick.
Hey, it's Jake. Editing this video down here, and I wanted to add a few things. Before we even got into top coat with the Trident tip, the first thing we did was we pressure washed it. The second thing that we did was we inspected all the fasteners, made sure they were all tight. We also looked at all of the seams opening up greater than 1/8 of an inch. We put a stitch screw in there. So we had a couple extension tips on a gun, and we didn't have to bend over. That goes fairly quickly. Then we put a little Hershey Kiss of caulking with the roof tube. We drew it up. I put the .47 tip in, which we sealed up all the screws after we made sure they were good, tight, driven in. And then we sealed all the verticals and horizontal seams with our largemouth seam sealer tip. I have really awesome videos on how to do that with the roof tube and how to. So by that point and what you're seeing now, all that stuff has been done. Just making sure that you're getting enough coating actually on that roof, okay? I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because there's lots of good videos, but this is called a wet mill gauge. And you see the numbers that are there? That's the millage, okay? So real quick, the space in between that the teeth in my phone case there, that's 80 mils, right? Some people, they make the mistake of thinking it's like you use it like this. You don't. It's like you put it against a flat surface, all right? Know how many mils you're supposed to put down. The manufacturer of the coating that you're using is going to help you with that. So it's better to put too much than not enough, and that's a mistake that a lot of guys do. So typical coverage rate is about 2 gallons per square with 2 coats. So the first coat is a gallon, second coat is a gallon. And a gallon per square is 16 wet mils. So I think on the video that you're watching here, that's what we're trying to do. One tube will hold a perfect half gallon. So video, we were going about 40 feet and times 10 inches. So we might need to do a little bit of math there and figure out roughly what your roof square percentage is there. So in this job, it ended up working out just about perfect. That one whole way across was exactly what we wanted for a one full roof tube, which will hold a half gallon. So make sure that the wet mill gauge is the boss, okay? Make sure that they're putting down and getting enough millage. So if it's 32 wet mils, you know, you want to make sure, I think on this one, the closest one there is 35. So I would go a little heavy, and I'd make sure I had 35. So if I press that down, make sure that whenever I dragged it out, I could make sure I had it on that tooth, make sure that I had it. And you want to do that very, very frequently on the roof, at least once an hour. All right, last thing I have to say this is the safety on this job. This was not my job. A customer was nice enough to let me come up and shoot some video and do some training. Don't emulate anything from a safety perspective that you see on this video. And I hesitate to even give you recommendations because I don't want to be liable for anything, obviously, but on a job that my crew is doing, the first thing we would do is we'd set up perimeter. Something in my throat. Your kids make you these mugs with the paint thing? Yeah, we got a bunch of those. Perimeter line, read about it, research it, get some cones, go to ABC Supply, you know, SRS somewhere locally, get some perimeter flags, set it up. Skylights are very, very dangerous, and especially the skylights that you see on the roof, because they're super easy to step on, and you'll be on the ground before you know it. So best thing to do is to try to get some steel panel that matches the corrugation of what you're doing. Throw those things in there for the duration of the job. Make sure that you're not going to have any issue. And some jobs, I've even actually screwed them down just to make sure that they weren't moving. So almost always I try to get my customer to eliminate them if I can. Finally, you can get some safety fall protection in a bucket at, you know, at least locally here in Pennsylvania. You can get this at Home Depot. Lowe's, I think, sells them too, where you get a clamping ring and you screw them down and make sure you're hitting the purlin, not just the panels. You want to get into the structure. Clip that sucker on there and then get your harness on, and you know, make sure you're tending the slack rope. So again, this is not meant at all to be a video about how to set up safety for fall protection, but I know how DIY people are, because I am one too. You guys are gonna say, screw it, I'm just gonna figure it out. So I figured I wanted to put something in there to help you be just a tad bit safer. So about what mastics to use, what coatings to use, you can give me a call, 717-360-8517. I haven't changed my cell number yet. I probably should, because I just get phone calls every day, but I really do. I love talking to y'all. So we have something called our crew kit, which you get six tubes and 2 of every one of our tips. So I always say this rule of thumb is, if you're using it and the roof tube feels messy, get a smaller tip size. If it feels slow, get up to a bigger tip size.